For investor, the big question is new launch or resale. So when investors decide between these two properties, they have to understand how the properties actually generate wealth for them. As I've explained in the last video, there are three ways in which the properties can create wealth for the investor. So if, let's say, an investor is looking to buy a new launch, right? New launch typically takes 3 years for construction to be completed, and during the first 3 years, the investor cannot, take possession of the property. So that means that unlike a resale property, the first 3 years, there's no rental income because the property is still under construction. Whereas for resale property, straight away, if the investor buys a property, right, he can actually rent out and monetize through the rental. So if we try to quantify how much actually is the difference in the first 3 years in terms of a new launch project where there's no rental versus a resale property where the first 3 years there's actually constant rental coming in through the principal reduction effect, but on the other hand, not that much capital appreciation potential, then how do we make a decision between the two? Now, the thing is that if we look at a typical resale property, let's say the price is between $1 million to $1.5 million, and we look at, let's say, assume a loan of 75%. So typically, through the rental principal reduction effect, we are looking at about 15,000 to 20,000 reduction in principal every year. So over 3 years is a reduction of maybe about $60,000 to $70,000. Now, when we look at a new launch, first 3 years, no rental. So principal reduction is zero. But potentially, if the new launch can appreciate, let's say $100,000 within the first 3 to 4 years, then in this kind of situation, actually new launch will be a better choice because purely through the capital appreciation, the $100,000, actually that amount is already more than the principal reduction over the 3 years for the resale property. But this is an investment decision. It does not mean that all new properties will appreciate. It also does not mean that all resale property will not appreciate. So if I could quote the analogy between capital appreciation and principal reduction, it is just like a children's story which I have heard before, between the race between the tortoise and the rabbit. I would liken principal reduction as the tortoise, slow and steady. That means that as long as the property is being rented out, you are constantly paying down the bank loan. Over the months and over the years, right, your loan will gradually go down. Whereas for capital appreciation, it's just like the rabbit, right? If the market is it is good, the property appreciates in price. And in terms of the race, as far as the race is concerned, it's just like the rabbit, if the rabbit is happy, he runs very far ahead, that's your capital appreciation. So the thing is, at the end, both ways, capital appreciation and principal reduction works for the property. But to choose wisely between the two, it really depends on what kind of new launch you're looking at, what kind of resale properties you are looking at.